Hey everyone, so today we're going to learn about the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So you can use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem to determine if the triangle is right. So if you look at the two triangles on the bottom, you notice that these do not form a triangle. The segments on the right do form a triangle. The length of three segments must be related in a special way in order for them to form a triangle. Today you're going to need your spiral, a pencil, and a calculator. So the triangle inequality theorem is the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle is greater than the length of the third side. So what does that mean? That means when we look at a triangle, we know that they have three sides, and that means the two sides have to be greater than the length of the third side. So let's look at this. Is it possible to construct a triangle with the given side length? So we have 6, 5, and 4. So what we want to do is think of all the different combinations that we can add all of the sides to make sure it's greater than the third side. So for this one, we have a triangle that's 6 centimeters by 5 centimeters by 4 centimeters. So we want to make sure that when I add 4 plus 5, that it is greater than our third side that we didn't use, which is 6. So is 4 plus 5 greater than 6? Yes, because it's 9. So I'm going to add 5 and 6. Is 5 plus 6 greater than the side we didn't use of 4? Yes, because 5 plus 6 is 11. Then I'm going to add 4 plus 6. We get 10, and that's greater than the side we didn't use, which is 5. So you used all my combinations, 4 plus 5, 4 plus 6, and then 5 plus 6. I want to make sure that when I add those sides, that it's greater than the remaining sides. So our answer would be yes, the sum of any of the two lengths is greater than the third side. So let's look at this one. It's a 7, 15, and 6. So I'm going to add 6 plus 15. Is that greater than 7? Yes. Then I'm going to add 15 plus 7. Is that greater than 6? Yes. Then I'm going to add 6 plus 7. Is that greater than 15? No. 7 plus 6 is 13, and 13 is not greater than 6, so it's than 15. So it would not equal a triangle. When we try and draw this triangle, it wouldn't match up. If you're getting confused on how to add, knowing which ones to add, I would start with the 7, do 7 plus 15, 7 plus 6, and then 15 plus 6. We'll look at another one together. So is it possible to construct a triangle with these three sides? So I'm going to try 6 plus 10. Is that greater than 20? 6 plus 20. Is that greater than 10? And then I'm going to try 10 plus 20. Is that greater than 6? So 6 plus 10 is 16, and 16 is not greater than 20. Because this does not work out, we don't need to check the rest, so it would not be a triangle. Notice so I didn't get confused, I tried 6 and 10, 6 and 20, and then tried 10 and 20. So why don't you go ahead and try this one on your own. They are decimals, but you can still add them using your calculator. When you tried this, you should have added 1 and 2.5, and that is greater than 3.5, because 1.5 plus 2.5, you should have gotten an answer of 4. So 4 is greater than 3.5. Then I tried 1.5 plus 3.5, and we want to know, is that greater than 2.5? And you should have gotten an answer of 5, and 5 is greater than 2.5. Then I tried 2.5 plus 3.5, and that gives you an answer of 6, and 6 is greater than 1.5, so yes, this forms a triangle. So now we're going to look at the converse. So we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and that's true for a right triangle. You can use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem to determine if a triangle is a right triangle. So when this is true, you know it's a right triangle. So finding a right triangle, I'm given the sides 12 meters, 15 meters, and 20 meters. And I want to know if these three will make a right triangle. Our largest number is always going to be our hypotenuse, and our two smaller numbers are our legs. So I would try 12 squared plus 15 squared. Does that give me 20 squared? Well, you need to go ahead and figure out what 12 squared is, which is 144. 15 squared is 225, and 20 squared is 400. Well, then I want to add 144 plus 225. You get 369. And 369 does not equal 400, so this is not a right triangle. Let's look at another one together. This says 7 inches, 8 inches, and the square root of 113. So I'm going to try 7 squared plus 8 squared equals, and I'm going to put it in parentheses, the square root of 113 squared. So any time I square a number under the square root button, I'm going to get that number. So 7 squared is 49, 8 squared is 64. I want you to put in the square root of 113 squared in your calculator. You're going to get that number. So make a note that any square root squared is going to give you that number. So now I can add 49 plus 64, and 113 equals 113. So yes, this is a right triangle. Make sure you write this down, that any square root squared is the same number. Go ahead and try this one on your own, plugging in 5, 6, and 10 into the Pythagorean theorem to see if it's a right triangle. So you should have plugged in 5 squared plus 6 squared equals 10 squared, 25 plus 36 equals 100, 61 does not equal 100. So this is not a right triangle. This is a word problem using the Converse Pythagorean theorem. So a land surveyor determines that a triangular plot of land has boundary lines that are 400 yards, 600 yards, and 720 yards in length. The 400-yard boundary line runs east to west. We want to determine whether either of the two other boundary lines run north and south. So what we are looking for is what we were doing on the previous slide. Does this squared plus this squared give us this squared? So 400 squared plus 600 squared equals 720 squared. I want you to go ahead and solve this and prove if this is true or not. You should have seen that when you take 400 squared plus 600 squared, you get 520,000, and that does not equal 518,400. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Again, it wants to know if the boundary lines 40 yards, 75 yards, and 85 yards form a right triangle. You should have answered yes. This does form a right triangle because 7,225 equals 7,225. Go ahead and try this one. Again, we're using a squared plus b squared equals c squared to see if it forms a right triangle. You should have answered yes, because when you take 10 squared plus 24 squared, it equals 26 squared. You want to make sure you're showing all of your work so that you are able to prove whether or not the equation that you've created is true. In your notebooks, I went to answer this question, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Two sides of a right triangle measure 5 inches and 12 inches. Why is this not enough information to find the length of the third side? So go ahead and write this down in your notes and make sure you bring this answer tomorrow for us to talk about. That's it for this lesson. So you want to make sure you took the notes, go back and listen if you need to, write down any remaining questions, and make sure you take the quiz on Kia. Make sure you have all the notes written and all of your work for when you come to class. Have a good night.